Thank you all for being here. This is always a great event. For those who don't know me, I am Eric Sy, president of the Lake George Association, and I'm kicking off this next session with an introduction. And I just want to preface this by saying what we do in these, for those who have been to these summits before, and welcome to everyone who's out there online. I hear we have over 50 people. I don't know how many states that translates into, but last year it was 14 states. So this thing is growing just as we want it to, but we start with the science and then we move into the solutions, and that's what this next session is about. That's the arc. Everything we do is guided by science, and you heard some good science. It may have been too much for you first thing in the morning, but here we are. We're going to get into the funner stuff now. And it's my pleasure to introduce Phil Sexton for this next session of WIT Advisors. Many of you know or have heard of Phil, but you may not know what WIT stands for. It fittingly stands for whatever it takes. And I have to say, that is exactly what we've done working with Phil and his crew these past 7 years to make Lake George a tested model for what it takes to reduce road salt use. And we don't use the word model lightly. I just want to touch on that in my opening remarks. But I first want to say we only got here with the solid partnership of our municipal leaders around the lake. And I'm delighted to see some of you here today. John Strow, Dennis Dickinson was in the room somewhere. John Strow's town of Queensbury, Dennis's town of Lake George. If there are others and I'm missing you, raise your hand and I'll acknowledge you. Oh my goodness, of course, Steve Ramont from the town of Hague. I didn't miss you, but I forgot you. Anyway, starting with their co-signed agreement, it all began with a piece of paper like this one. An MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding, detailing the problem, the science again, and then committing to what it's going to take to solve the problem in practical terms. And if you can't do it practically, we're not going to get it done. So that's job one. That agreement laid the foundation for the Lake George model that we're sharing with you today and the extraordinary progress we've made to date. And the coolest thing, and I've heard this a few times in previous remarks, is we've done this without new policies, without new regulations. I'm speaking about Lake George now. How do you do that? What does it take? Well, what it's taken is partnership. Not just the partnership of the municipal leaders, but it has taken the partnership of all of you. So from those municipal officials to private businesses, some of whom are in the room. We heard from Kathy Munsell, CEO of the Fort William Henry. We have Vinnie Cressito here from the Holiday Inn, who's also on the Lake George Town Board, and other businesses. It's a deep and wide bench of participation that has got us here. Guided by science again, fueled by direct investment. The LGA has been the principal investor on the private side of making this happen over the past 7 years, knowing what's at stake and that failure can't be an option, and creating a can-do culture. And I think this is the critical piece. We have experienced over this 7-year period a culture shift. The culture initially was, I remember it well, Chris was there too, Phil, etc. It was like this: we can't do that. We can't switch our practices. That's not going to happen. Those very same people have been champions, and you're going to hear from some of them shortly, for what it is we've done with their leadership. And these are the elements of the approach that makes what we've done a model. And I have to say, quick aside, they're the very same ingredients that produced the strongest aquatic invasive species prevention program east of the Mississippi, bar none, at Lake George. We did that through partnership. Thank you. We did that through leadership. We did that through vision. And it's a smashing success. And what does that say? It says that purpose-driven collaboration works. It works for the health of the lake and our lake-based economy. You know, I say this a lot because I believe it in my bones and my soul. Teddy Roosevelt put it this way: the environment and economy are opposite sides of the same coin. No doubt about it. And in our case, that coin is Lake George, whose value is going to accrue or decline depending on the actions we take now together. It's going to take all of us to keep Lake George clear and clean, or wherever you are out there. It's not just Lake George. This applies anywhere. So as Phil and company will share, the economic case for road salt reduction is strong. It's well documented. You're going to see and hear about some of the numbers. And I want to shift just slightly to the LGA has something called our Council of Business Advisors. These are lead businesses across the region, around the lake. Robert Niemer from Niemer Motor Group is here. He's a leader on the Council of Business Advisors. Vinny Cressito, again, from the Holiday Inn, is on our Council of Business Advisors. Who am I missing that may be in the room? If I am, my apologies. But it's a robust, strong group. And why are they participating? Because they know what's at stake. You know, the lake is the lifeblood of our regional economy. That's just a simple fact. So what we did, though, with the Council of Business Advisors is we brought the economic case for road salt reduction to the state DOT, and we have a great delegation here today. We're delighted to have you participating. You're important partners in this pursuit. But we sent a letter to our DOT commissioner, Dominguez, and we made the business case in a letter, and we cited the significant savings here at Lake George as the basis for comprehensive reductions statewide. And when we crunched the numbers, the estimated total savings for the state would be in the tens of millions of dollars every year, maybe more than tens of millions. This was back of the envelope calculations. But this is the best part. At the same time, we're protecting our waters and our environment from salt's worsening impacts. And they are worsening. The latest science, the story gets worse. The more we learn about it, the more serious the problem is, and the more serious it is for us to take action. So the commissioner's response was on point, spot on, and she said, and I quote, "This is the message, the economic case, that resonates with the most people. These words, for all of us, should be heard as a call to action, requiring us to work together, share our proven approach in the region and beyond." You know, and it's the ultimate win-win-win. We're keeping our roads safe, and we are, no doubt about it. We're protecting our waters, and we're saving money. I mean, what could be better? Bottom line, the best practices model at Lake George can be adapted anywhere as the need to reduce road salt use intensifies everywhere. So I want to thank you again for being here, for making our progress possible, for delivering on behalf of our waters, on behalf of our budgets, on behalf of our future. Thank you very much. Dominguez.